Everyone, welcome to the show. I have really great news to share about Donald Trump's approval rating as we're hitting his 100-day mark. And I'm noticing something that poses a danger to Trump and his MAGA party. Older Trump voters are most concerned and the most vocal about his economic failures. This shouldn't be a surprise, right? I mean, it makes perfect sense because they are the closest to retirement. They don't have years and years to wait for the market to rebound. But it's interesting because they've always been such a strong demographic group for Trump. So before I dive into the details on all of this, please do me a huge favor. Click the subscribe button below this video. It is free for you. It helps the show tremendously. So I really, really appreciate it. And as always, a big shout out and thank you to everyone who supports the show with donations. So here is the awesome news. We've got 30s, people. Trump's polling is now dipping down into the 30% range. He's getting down into Joe Biden territory at the end of Joe Biden's term. I mean, this is the kiss of death. Republicans should be wetting themselves right now because they're doomed in the midterms. If Trump can't pull this out of the nosedive that it's in, they're doomed. And here's the latest. So there was an AP NORC poll. It has Trump at 39% approval, and he is severely underwater on his main policies. So an abysmal 37% approval on the economy, 46% approval on immigration, only 37% on trade, and 38% on foreign policy. And 62% of the respondents in this poll said that the country is moving in the wrong direction. 62%. So that includes Republicans. In fact, they broke it down. It included 29% of Republicans. I also have details to share from the largest poll that's been conducted so far. This was done by NBC News. So they surveyed over 19,000 Americans across the country. Here's what they found. So overall, 45% approve, 55% disapprove of Trump's handling of his job. But his approval rating with Gen Z is horrific. Only 34% of Gen Z approves and 66% disapprove. So a group that he won by, leaps and bounds over previous Republican candidates, they are just tanking. And when asked if the country is on the right track or wrong track in this poll, 40% said right track and 60% said no, we're on the wrong track. So you're seeing this repeat in poll after poll. I mean, these are not outliers. And Gen Z was even worse on the right track, wrong track. 29% said we're on the right track. That's it. Basically, less than 3 out of 10 voters. 71% said no, we're on the wrong track. And here's why his Gen Z numbers are so bad. Steve Kornacki over at NBC News broke it down, and he explained Gen Z men, they're pretty much evenly split. So 45% approval, 55% disapproval. When it comes to Gen Z women, though, they loathe Trump. These are my people. I'm not Gen Z, but these are my people. So only 24% approve, and 76% of Gen Z females disapprove of Trump. So bad news for Trump and also Gen Z men, right? They're looking to find a mate, hoping to find someone in their own age range. Not going to happen. There's also an ABC Ipsos poll that came out. This was conducted just last week. More bad news for Trump and the Republicans. Again, 39% approval rating on Trump's job performance. 55% disapprove. Horrific for him. In February, just to give you a framework, he had a 45% approval and 53% disapproval. I mean, and this is the same poll. And then check this one out. Trump's approval rating among independent voters is only 33% in this poll. Even independents who lean Republican, they're losing that love and feeling. So only 63% approve of Trump's job performance. Now, when you and it still may sound like a lot, right? 6 out of 10, but it was 76% just in February. So it has dropped 13% in just 2 months. So Trump now has the lowest approval rating of any president at their 100-day mark, including his own first term numbers. He just keeps setting new records, and not in a good way. And as with the polls that I shared last week, he is underwater on every issue, including his signature issue of immigration. So for those on the podcast, I'm going to run through some of these real quick. Immigration, 46% approval, 53% disapprove. Looking out for the interests of the average American, 41% approve, 58% say no, he is not looking out for the average American. In regard to the economy, only 39% approve, 61% disapprove. The reason he got elected, and less than 4 in 10 people are like, yeah, he's not cutting it. When they asked about tariffs, only 34% approve, 64% disapprove. So he is doing everything completely the opposite of what people want. They also asked about some of his policies that have been in the news lately. And Trump, again, is not doing what the majority of the public wants. Again, I'm going to run through these real quick, or a few of them. So they asked about sending undocumented immigrants who are suspected of being members of a criminal gang to El Salvador without a court hearing. So that's the key here. 47% approve, which is terrifying, that almost half of the country is like, yeah, you do whatever you want to do, give them a hearing or don't, we don't care. But the majority, 51%, disapprove. On the issue of deporting international students who criticize U.S. policy in the Middle East, meaning Israel, only 39% approve of that, 59% disapprove. And when they asked if these people agree with increasing the federal government's role in how universities operate, private universities, it's abysmal. A minuscule 28% approve, 70% disapprove. So all this crap he's pulling with all of these universities is wildly unpopular. And we're hearing disapproval on some of these same issues, specifically this one, by right-wing influencers like Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, other people are saying, this is horrible. Like, what are you doing? This is going to come back to bite us. And it will. It will. And then look at this one. 72% of respondents said Trump's policies will cause a recession in the short term. And then a plurality of 42% said his policies will make the economy weaker even in the long term. And then check out the latest CNN poll numbers.
41% approve of him now. It was 44% back in 2017 around the 100-day mark. Trump's 41% at 100 days is the worst on record. He has broken his own record for being the worst. There's only one data point where Trump is above 45%. It comes to his handling of gender identity policy. He's at 51%. Every other issue, immigration, where he has long been above water, look at this, below water, 45%. How about the economy? Just 39%. And of course, the tariff war, 34% on that. Donald Trump on the economy here, it's not just the lowest for this term, it's the lowest for any president on record 100 days into a presidency.
So a little bit more favorable than the Ipsos poll, but not much. And a recent New York Times Siena poll showed almost identical results. So 42% approve of Trump, 54% disapprove. And when they asked these people, how do you describe Trump's presidency? Over half of the respondents. Well, and I should say they gave them words, and then people were able to pick all of the different words that they felt, express their feelings about Trump's first 100 days. Most of them, over half, agreed that it was scary and chaotic. They chose those two words. That included some Republicans. 47% of Republicans agreed with the word chaotic. 36% agreed that his first 100 days have been scary. However, I will give this caveat. 82% of the Republicans specifically also checked off the box that said exciting. So, these must be adrenaline junkies, I'm gathering, like people who like to skydive and feel like they're dying. Anyway, the Siena pollsters also asked if the country's on the right track or wrong track. A majority, 53%, said no, on the wrong track. Only 36% said, yeah, we're going in the right direction with no due process, threatening and arresting judges, wanting to ship American citizens off to foreign gulags and so forth. And then a plurality of 50% said Trump has made the economy worse. This New York Times poll also shows that Trump is upside down on the question of his handling of the economy. Once again, so only 43% approve, 55% disapprove. And once again, we see him with a net negative approval on immigration. His key policy, one of the things that he's known for, 47% approve, 51% disapprove. And when they asked specifically about Trump's deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, only 31% of the respondents said, yeah, I agree with that. The majority, 52%, said, no, we disapprove. So, and then they also asked in general if Trump should deport legal immigrants, not illegal, but legal immigrants, meaning people with green cards, people who have visas to be here, who are protesting against Israel. It was not even close. Only 17% said yes, he should be able to do this. 63% said no, this should not happen. So again, he is wildly out of step with what the American people want him to do. So, his arrest of Mahmoud Khalil and that poor girl from Tufts University who they just snatched off the street and terrorized her, people do not agree with this. The vast majority of Americans. So he's clearly losing the messaging battle on these deportation orders or issues. And all of this mayhem is having an impact on the public's perception of not just him, but the Republican Party, because they asked if the 2026 general election for Congress was held today, which party's candidate would you be likely to vote for? For the second time in as many weeks, Democrats have now pulled ahead. 47% said, I would vote for the Democrat in the race. 44% said a Republican. So again, this is going to come back to bite them in the midterms. I'm not saying that all of these people are going to come out and vote for Democrats, because as we've seen with the polling, Democrats are not all that popular, and they're losing steam. And you've got Chuck Schumer out there going, "Oh, I wrote a strong letter to Trump." I mean, oh my God, don't even get me started on that idiot. I mean, he's so past his prime. He's ready for the glue factory, seriously. And I don't mean that based on age. I mean just his archaic thinking. He truly does not get the moment that we're in. But anyway, not that these people are going to come out now and vote for the Democrats necessarily, but if it even just suppresses the Republican vote, if it even just makes people go, you know what, I can't vote for a Democrat, but God, no, I cannot vote for this party that is letting Donald Trump just run amok and, flout all the rules and norms and laws and give a middle finger to the Supreme Court and court orders. Even if they just sit it out, it is a win because the Democrats are fired up. They may not be happy about our leadership right now. We may not be happy about it, but we're going to be out in force voting in the midterms. So anyway, guys, I will let you know. I actually think I did see another poll come through today, so I'll have more polling information for you later this week. But yeah, first 100 days, not looking too good. All right. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.